Hello again. Today's topic is on the 12 functional wellness shifts to help your child thrive without the overwhelm. As you well know, the reality of raising children with special needs is not for the faint of heart. You're doing everything you can, but you feel like you still are struggling with the child's irritability, their trouble sleeping, their tummy aches, their meltdowns, and brain fog, to mention a few. And even though you've tried therapies, you've adjusted routines, maybe you've explored medication, but still nothing is landing for them. Is that resonating with you, parents? Because I sure see that a lot in my clinic. I want you to know, as a functional medicine doctor, your child is not broken and their body is just sending signals. The symptoms you're seeing are signals telling you that their brain and nervous system are not communicating properly. There are root causes that we can address so that we can get under the hood, so to speak, and fix the things that are disrupting their normal biorhythms. So this is what I love so much about functional medicine, is that we've learned tenets to approach scientifically all these wellness hacks and wellness habits that you can now learn to implement. So let's start with hydration and nourishment. You want to start with good quality filtered water to support digestion, detox, and energy regulation. You want to feed your children whole foods, not processed foods, because processed foods is full of dyes and sugars and preservatives, and that kind of clogs up the mechanisms of the liver. So you're getting a lot of congestion in the liver and the detox pathways stop working properly. You want to bring foods that are filled with color and antioxidants. You want to give them healthy proteins that are lean. You want to use healthy fats because fats are essential. I know there was a whole, fat-free phase in our past generation, but now we understand through science that this was a mistake. It's actually sugar that is causing our obesity. So we want to cut out the sugar, bring in the healthy fats like fish oils and olive oils and coconut oils, and a lot of veggies because the fiber is so critical for a healthy microbiome. So when you're doing these things, you're going to just, within weeks, maybe even within days, you're going to see a transformation in your children, in their behavior and their gut health and their sleep patterns. It starts showing up pretty much right away. You can try this hack. Maybe add a green smoothie with avocados and berries in the morning to replace their normal high sugary cereal breakfast. Or you can have like sliced cucumbers and crackers and hummus instead of a bad snack, right? So try those things. So now this leads us into supporting the body's detox pathways. A gentle detox support is the best way to go for your children. You really don't want to rock the boat and dump a lot of toxins into their gut because it's really gonna clog up the mechanism and cause a lot of abdominal discomfort and issues with cleansing. So many children with neuroinflammation and chronic immune challenges have trouble clearing those toxins in the first place. So we want to use simple support like Epsom salt baths, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cabbage, and herbal teas, which can make a huge difference. Think gentle, not extreme cleanses. Let's talk some more about Epsom salt baths. Even 10 minutes in a warm magnesium bath can help soothe a dysregulated nervous system. So it's a really wonderful way to settle them down before sleep at night. I would even add a few drops of your best essential lavender oil to add to soothing of the nervous system, and they'll for sure start sleeping like a baby with this approach. And finally, the cruciferous vegetables are known to help support the liver detox pathways. So we want to eat as much as those as they'll let you put in front of them. Encourage daily movements because we know that this regulates brain chemicals. Movement helps us regulate dopamine and produce endorphins, which are feel-good hormones. So it's so essential that we get movement going every day. And it even has been shown to improve focus and concentration. So essential for children who have ADHD, who have autism, who have some kind of neurodivergence that's impairing their normal, regular brain nervous system communication. Also, simple activities can count. You don't need a gym. They can be on their bikes. They can run around the backyard. They can go for a walk, take bike rides. All these simple movements are so essential and they add up. You don't even have to do them in one session. You can do something in the morning and something in the afternoon, but it adds up for the day. And make it fun. The more they enjoy moving and dancing and spinning around the room, the more their nervous system actually is soothed by it. So it's great to get daily movement going every day. Now, having a sleep routine is such a priority for children, and I would say even for adults. Creating a calming routine just establishes a connection in the subconscious mind that is also directed by the microbiome, believe it or not. We have to sync all these functions in our body with the schedule of the circadian rhythm of the planet. So at night, you want dim lights that are maybe by the side. You don't want high overhead lights that wake you up. So amber colored, yellow or orange colored lights are best in the evening. You want calming music, calming stories, nothing too scary or exciting. Don't be reading Harry Potter to your children late at night. It's just too exciting, right? So you want something calming and something that's soothing to their nervous system. And it's also essential to limit the screen time, because I find kids are on their phones, on their TVs, on their screens and tablets really late at night. And we know that this disrupts the production of melatonin. So you want to try to turn off screen time at least an hour, if not an hour and a half before bedtime, and move into soothing activities like baths and reading and prayer and maybe calmly coloring or doing something quite peaceful. And to support better rest, as I mentioned earlier on the detox slide, is we want to use magnesium. So you can do baths, you could do lotion, you can do calming herbal teas like chamomile. All these work synergistically together to soothe the nervous system. And sleep also impacts everything from mood to immunity. So creating this calming bedtime with dim lights and predictable timing and calming music or stories is so essential. Trying to get away from screens that wake you up and disrupt the melatonin production by making more cortisol. So we definitely need to establish those strict routines for our kids so that they learn good habits from when they're young. Now, let's talk about reducing stress, not just for them, but for you as well. Spending time in nature, taking leisurely walks or sitting in the backyard or playing outside is really important to reset the nervous system. So take advantage of beautiful sunny days to be outside, to breathe the fresh air, and to just commune with nature. It's almost, we know now that there's ions from the forest, ions from the trees are emitted, and also the magnetic waves of the planet as they hit your body and your system have a calming, healing effect on us. So don't spend all your time cooped up inside a building. Go outside and spend time in nature. Speaking of breathing, take deep breathing, cleansing breaths when you wake up, maybe 3 to 5 breaths. Open a window, open a door, take some clean breaths in and out as deep as you can. And whenever you're feeling tense, pause, take 2, 3 deep breaths. Again, we call that box breathing, and see if you can release that tension and release that stress, which will help you focus better and go back to the work that you're trying to accomplish. Sensory play is important for children on the neurodivergence scale because it helps them engage with textures and materials that are soothing. And finally, physical connection. Hugs are really special for human beings. They produce a lot of oxytocin and serotonin, which are very important bonding hormones. And so I would say that if your child shows or displays or tells you that they're stressed, you want to intuitively know that they need a reset, they need a pause. So help them throughout the day to be aware of what they're displaying, what they're communicating, and take time to breathe, to sensory play, to spend time in nature, or simply just being held. And don't forget your own stress care, because a regulated parent who's not stressed, who's not overwhelmed, is going to help their child so much better. Let's check for supplement and nutrient deficiencies. So in my work, I like to test and not guess with what's going on with my patients. I'll often check for levels of their vitamin D, their omega-3, their B vitamin levels, the zinc, copper, and magnesium, and also iron, which is not shown on the slide. But those vitamins and nutrients have essential functions in the body, meaning they are not produced by our body. We have to consume them. And if we don't have them in our diet, we are going to be nutritionally depleted. And a lot of children on the neurodivergent scale are picky eaters. So I know their diet is not giving them what they need for nutrients to function fully and to thrive. And so important that we test and see what is the deficiency, what is the degree of deficiency, and that we supplement accordingly with ways either using dietary sources or supplement sources to get them the nutrients that their body needs to function optimally. I would say, again, testing is ideal, but you can even start foundational vitamins that are created for ADHD and autism. They're out there. You can buy them online and start those types of vitamins in your children. One company I recommend is the Autism Nutritional Research Foundation, because they have a product that's patented for autism. And I find that that vitamin is extremely helpful in our children who have an autism diagnosis to help their hand, eye, brain coordination, their speech and language development, their social skills development. Nothing is working independently here. We're not just doing biological treatments without the therapies, but it's really important that we look at the biological, because from the conventional model, we tend to overlook nutrition, don't we? As doctors, we tend to not look at what the child is eating or what they're taking for supplements. We just focus on the diagnosis, what medication we can pull out of our closet, and what therapies we can refer you to. But that's not enough. I'm here to tell you that we have to look at nutritional deficiencies as a key part of the program, as a key part of the protocol to really move the needle forward and heal the body. The next piece of the healing is to look at the gut so that we can help the brain, because the two nervous systems, the one in the gut and the one in the brain, talk to each other all the time. It's a continual communication through the vagus nerve, which is cranial nerve number 10. And if you've seen other lecturers talk about the vagus nerve, you know the importance of that in our health and well-being. So let's address any dysbiosis, which is imbalance in the microbiota. That could be the balance of the different families of bacteria, the different yeast component, the different molds, the different parasites. All of those live in our gut, but as long as they're under balance, we are healthy. And when things get out of control, we see more dis-ease showing up. So we want to address any dysbiosis, because inflammation often starts in the gut. We want to reduce inflammatory foods, because if we're eating things like dairy and gluten, that's really causing disruption in the cell junctions of our gut lining, and that's creating more antibodies and more autoimmune situations in our bodies. So it's important to reduce inflammatory foods. We want to add back fermented foods like yogurts and sauerkraut and other fermented foods, kimchi, because these add back healthy bacteria to our gut and rebalance the microbiome. And we want to support the neurotransmitters. We know that serotonin is mostly made in the gut, but we can also make B12 in the gut. So it's really important to balance the neurotransmitters, and we can see that on a lot of the organic acid testing that we do, for example, to help us regain a semblance of health, a semblance of well-being, a sense of my brain is clear and sharp and focused. And we know that these issues impact children on the spectrum, impact children with anxiety, depression, PANS, PANDAS. So it's one phenomenon that's happening under the hood, or multiple phenomena, but they're manifesting as different diagnoses in the child in question. And we have to understand the foundations of functional medicine and why we approach things very differently than a conventional doctor does. We have to support the gut and the neurotransmitters in order to produce the right mood and the right focus and the right brain function. Now, parents often ask me, is there a benefit to restrictive eating, like fasting? And I would say in children, because they are growing, we don't want to overdo the fasting bit. We don't want them grazing all day long either, because that can definitely lead to obesity. But I would say that, in the morning, they can get up and have a good, healthy breakfast, like we mentioned before. Maybe skip the morning snack. If you can eat right at noon, that's like a 4-hour window, and that's usually enough time. If you've had enough protein and fat at your breakfast, you shouldn't feel any mid-morning hunger pangs. You should be able to last till noon, and then you want to eat healthy protein and lots of vegetables at lunch. Then if you need a healthy snack mid-afternoon, that's fine, especially if children are active with sports. They may need a mid-afternoon snack. That could be a low-sugar yogurt or a sandwich or a fruit with some nut butter. You be the guide and the judge of what would be the easiest and best snack to prepare. And then have a fairly early dinner, because part of my goal is to get these children into bed in a timely fashion. We don't want them staying up till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We really need them in bed by 8:30 so that they get enough sleep and have that regenerative sleep and healing that's happening during that time. So try to allow enough time after dinner to digest, and then we need to be in our bedtime routine preparation and go ahead and let them go to bed. You don't want to go too aggressive with the fasting window. I would say a 10-hour window of fasting is plenty, but you can go up to 12 with children without disrupting too much of their sugar and cortisol metabolism. We also want to look at the toxin exposure level in our home. Is there mold? Are there leaks around the house that you know are causing a health toxicity presence? So open up the windows, allow some fresh air if that is something you can do. Buy non-toxic products. So natural cleaners and personal care products are available now at every grocery store. You don't have to special order them anymore. So start making the switch one by one and change over your household regimen so that you're bringing less toxic chemicals into your home. You can definitely use an air purifier that's good and reputable, because that will also detox the air in your home. Use safe storage containers. So I like stainless steel and glass more than plastic. Of course, we can't get away completely from plastic, but make sure it's BPA free. Don't microwave the plastic. Always use glass or ceramic. And use better cookware. So avoid the non-stick, Tefal type pans, because they do melt in our food as you're cooking with that, and as you're scraping with your spatulas, you start getting pieces of the Teflon into the food, and that has been shown to be cancer producing. So start switching your cookware to also avoid these harmful chemicals. From plastics to fragrances to non-stick cookware and harsh cleaners, all these toxins can add up, and our liver can only do so much on its own. So everything we can do to support the liver by minimizing the exposure to toxins and the exposure on the child's toxic burden will help support their immune system and their immune balance. And let's build in joy and connection. So spend at least 5 minutes a day, with your child, building this joy and connection and being present with them. Of course, you can spend more than 5 minutes, but at least 5 minutes a day, and even 5 minutes a day, can make a huge difference. I know we can't go too long without saying no to our child or correcting them in some way, but if you can connect and change the behavior without using those negatives, it would do so much for your child's self-esteem and really foster a bond and a trust that is unfortunately, eroding away when we're constantly punishing and yelling at our children. You want to be 100% present to the degree that's possible. Of course, parents, you are human too. You have your own nervous system to tend with, but the more you provide yourself with the self-care, the more then you can be present for your child. So children thrive when they feel safe and soothed and seen. Take a few minutes each day without correcting them during that time. Just play and snuggle, share a joke, join in their world, whatever they're doing, even so briefly, which will allow them to be seen and to be heard and to be witnessed and to feel like they're valued. These micro moments really do build trust and support emotional resilience. Let's track progress with functional testing. So I mentioned earlier, it's so much better not to guess. It's so much clearer when we have an exam, a test before us that we can look at raw numbers and glean from that what the body is calling for. So it's really my specialty and my zone of genius, if you will, to look at these types of tests and to uncover what the body is telling me so that I can interpret the result and really target the supplements and the protocols and the diets to my patients through the lens of interpreting those tests. We want to create a clear plan. So whenever we work together with families, not any two children have the same disorder. And my job is to work one-on-one with the parents to customize what that plan would look like. And we may start somewhere and finish somewhere completely different, but the idea is that we're cooperating and we are working together to bring a unified front to helping the child thrive and succeed. And of course, we're going to monitor all the symptoms and all the changes throughout the journey. So it's really important to track and to follow, and maybe to repeat the testing every 6 months or so to see where are things now, right? And a lot of times if you're stuck managing symptoms, you don't know how to get out of that. You don't know why it's not working what you've done. So the best way to really understand what the body's communicating through the symptoms, through that lens, is to do some investigational root cause testing and uncover what are the gut infections, what are the nutrient gaps, what are the food triggers, what are the mitochondrial dysfunctions, or where's the chronic inflammation present. So when we test, I feel we don't guess, and the healing journey is much clearer and much more straightforward. So let's talk a little about that personalized path to healing. You know, there are no two people that carry the same disease or disorder. Everyone is unique. Everyone has a unique profile, and that's why there cannot be a single right protocol for any one person. There's an approach. There's a method to the madness. So healing must be tailored to your child's unique biology, history, and needs, but also taking into consideration your needs as a parent. The goal is not perfection, it's progress, one layer at a time. So this is a journey, and we walk it together step by step. And a final thought for me is to invite you to book a free consultation with me at the link that you see above. And when you show up to this call, I'm going to gift you with a gluten-free, dairy-free, it's a 7-day recipe booklet with lunch, breakfast, dinner, and a snack. And you and your child will enjoy so much preparing those fun meals. They're very child-friendly, and the ingredients are very simple. And remember, you don't have to do everything all at once. Start with one or two that help to shift things in your home and watch what happens. You know, I gave you 12 tips in this webinar, and when you're ready, move to the next one. And as you start witnessing the body's healing through nutritional intake, through detox, through gut health, through sleep and stress release, the brain begins to calm down, regulate, and grow. And if you're ready to go to the root of your child's struggles and create a personal plan, then let's talk, and let's get together on a call, and we'll go from there. So I wish you a wonderful day and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.